What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. So it's been a while since I've actually done a Q&A. So what I did is I accumulated about 20 of the most recent questions that I think really, I see a lot that can help you out if I go through and answer them. So that's exactly what we're gonna do here today. So Malik Ahmed says, how can we contact you? And I threw this in there because I actually did move my email address to a new email because my old email got swamped with Udemy students. I'll pop that email up on the screen right now. It is Brian with a Y at invertmedia.net. Any questions, feel free to email me there. I'd love to help you out with it. Glitch Recall says, when purchasing from this site, will they actually provide an invoice to get ungated from certain items, say like pills? Or will I be able to purchase and get ungated using this website? So he's specifically referring to a video I did on uberzonclub, but this really applies to any bulk deal site, so I really want to hit this home. So with bulk deal sites, I've tried this. I know that other people online have said that you can't use invoices or receipts from bulk deal sites, right? So like GameStop, like Slick Deals, like Woot, anything like those, right? Any of the bulk deal websites that I go over in my bulk deal arbitrage playlist, you can't use receipts or invoices to get ungated. Now you can use receipts and invoices from those places as well as retail stores to, prove authenticity, right? To prove that you did source that actual product from a legitimate company and a legitimate store or legitimate website, right? If it obviously matches the description, if it matches the same product exactly as a detail page, then yes, you can use that to prove authenticity if Amazon were to ever ask you about that potential item that you listed, but you can't use it to get ungated. So in that specific case, if you're sourcing from the bulk deal sites or like uberzonclub, for example, to actually resell back on Amazon, you would need to be ungated first because they won't ungate you for that. To get ungated, you have to source from a legitimate manufacturer or distributor. So a perfect example of that would be like EE Distribution, right? That's a wholesale site where if you buy something from them in a 10 plus quantity, you can get ungated, but not for uberzonclub, not for any of the bulk deal sites like Slick Deals. Everyday K says, Brian, how long do you wait for replies on Jumpsend? So with Jumpsend, it really depends on how much you're scaled, right? I have 3 accounts and I believe I get like 30 or 40 or 50 on each account of them. So I don't really ever, cancel them if they don't respond back in time. I usually just wait them out because I do scale it up, not just multiple Jumpsends, but I obviously use all the sites. So key here is if you only have one Jumpsend account and you only have like 20 or 30 claims on that account, then maybe wait, I'd say a day or 2 max. I have seen sellers approve you like 3 days later. I have seen most sellers obviously approve you like instantly or that day within 24 hours. But, if you are limited on claims, I'd say give it maybe 24 hours to 48 hours max. And if they haven't accepted you by them and you need more claims, key thing there, you need more claims, then you can cancel and apply for something else. Carl CB says, when you get this inventory, how do you take photos to use for the listings of those products? Do you actually basically take them yourself with your own camera or your own iPhone, or do you actually take them from the source, which is the Amazon listing? So I get this question a lot and I wanted to touch on it. So me personally, I literally just take them right from the Amazon listing. That's why I love sourcing from the cashback sites and the coupon sites to resell back on Poshmark, Mercari, as well as eBay, right? Now, key thing with Mercari, it's the only one where you need to worry about this, is you do need to actually take a picture that is not a stock picture yourself, right? So for example, let's say I was selling this pen and I got it on a cashback website. I would take all the pictures and the entire listing off of Amazon, right? And I'd list it on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. But with just Mercari, I actually have to take a physical picture of this pen as well. So I would take the entire listing, list it on Mercari, and then I would literally take my phone, take a picture of the pen, right? And then I'd make that my last image, right? My 8th or my 9th image. It gives you the best potential pictures from the stock pictures on Amazon from that listing, but it also applies to the Mercari terms of service and keeps you within the terms of service because you're not only using stock photos. So in that case, you do actually take a picture yourself on Mercari. I actually use it to, as an inventory tracking system as well. So if I have a bunch of products, because if you're scaling up, you're gonna have a bunch of products that all look very, very similar, I'll take a picture of the actual product and the barcode. That way I can decipher in the future if I'm actually, getting the right product when I'm actually shipping it out, right? So yes, I do use the source from the Amazon listing, but if you're listing them on Mercari as well, make sure you're actually taking a picture yourself. Ziska Zaza says, how do you deliver an item to a customer in the US while not living in the US? So with that specifically, you just need to use a prep center. It depends if you're selling on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, or if you're selling on Amazon. There are prep centers for both of them. You just have to look into them. If you're doing eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, then you want to look for an eBay prep center, one that's geared more towards not just distributing and shipping and labeling your stuff, but also storing it as well, right? Now, if you're doing just Amazon, then you can either ship it into Amazon FBA, or if you're ordering from like a liquidation site or a wholesale site, right, then you don't actually need a prep center. You can just ship it directly from that site into FBA, and FBA will prep for you. Or if you're doing it with another site that doesn't actually have their own distribution, right, then you can use a prep center as a middleman to receive your products, repackage them up, relabel them, and then ship them into FBA. So in short, just use a prep center. Trevion Cannon says, hey, can you make a video with a link to your cashback websites, all of them? I'd like to do multiple websites to scale up my online selling, and I want to personally make this a full-time income. That's awesome, Trevion. I think that's a great idea. I love the cashback sites, and I wanted to add this in there because I get this a lot. You know, can you make a link with all your coupon sites? Can you make a list of all these X sites, right? I have created all the playlists. So there's a cashback playlist, there's a liquidation playlist, there's a bulk deal playlist, there's a book playlist, there's a coupon playlist, right? All those playlists are on this channel, and all the tutorials that I've ever created on any site, you can find there. So you can literally just go through the tutorials, watch them and learn, or go through the tutorials and literally write down all the sites, use them yourself. Spook says, can people who live outside the US sell on Mercari? I live in Australia. So yes, you can sell on Mercari from Australia, but you need to use a prep center. You also might need to use a proxy or something that changes your IP, because I don't believe that you can sign into a Mercari account from Australia exactly, but you can use it just like eBay, Poshmark, or Mercari, right? You just need to use a prep center, like I said in the previous question. You need to use a prep center that's more geared towards eBay sellers, right? Because that way it won't just, do your fulfillment for you. It won't just ship to the customer. It won't just label, but it will also hold your products for a slight fee as well. I know Mercari is actually planning on expanding into other countries, but currently I believe it is only in the US. So you need a prep center. Batukan Keskin says, is it possible to sell the product in Amazon when you bought it from the same listing? This is a question I get constantly, because people usually come into, a lot of people actually, usually come into my older coupon arbitrage tutorials. And so in those tutorials, I'm literally showing you what I used to do by buying from the coupon sites and then relisting those same products back under that same listing on Amazon. So in short, is it possible to sell them back on Amazon? Of course. But you might run into potential IP claims, copyright claims, trademark infringement claims, and just friction from the sellers. So I don't personally do that business model anymore. Can you? Yes, but I don't recommend that you do it. Instead, I would recommend that you just use the coupon sites, get cheap products, and then resell those products back on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay. M3 says, question, why do this over dropshipping? So this is my personal opinion, and some people might not agree with it, and that's totally fine. There's like retail drop shipping where you're doing it on like Amazon, eBay, Etsy, even Mercari as well, right? And that can work, although I don't scale that up. The key there is, though, Amazon and eBay are definitely trying to crack down on drop shipping. Now, it is within the Amazon's terms of service. I know there's that slight gray area there where if you're using legitimate suppliers and wholesale manufacturers and stuff like that, that you can get away with it. I don't know enough about that, so I don't necessarily recommend that. I know if you're doing it on Amazon, if you're doing it on eBay, they really have cracked down on that lately, so I don't recommend it. Why do I prefer it over this? Because you're simply getting very, very cheap and free products, so you're mitigating any risk, you're staying within the terms of service that you know, and obviously you're scaling up and starting a legitimate business. In my opinion, if you're drop shipping, that's a means to an end. If you're doing it on like a third-party platform like Amazon or eBay or Mercari or something like that, again, just my opinion. Now, if you're doing it the other way with Shopify, I don't think that business model works that well anymore. I think it's very competitive. Can you find a great product? Yeah, of course. But then it's just as easy for somebody else to hop on that product eventually, undercut you in your ad spend, and then your entire business is done and you need to restart with another product. So it's very, very difficult to rank Shopify stuff nowadays and sell on a Shopify store if you're only doing drop shipping. Now, if you're manufacturing your own product, then that's a completely different thing. But if you're trying to strictly drop ship on Shopify from like AliExpress or something like that, I would caution you, think very, very carefully about doing that. Chances are any business model that seems very, very easy like that is probably too good to be true, or it's very competitive, because that's going to appeal to everybody and their mother. So Alanis Bartolis says, what about IP claims? Do I get any, and how do I avoid them if I don't? I've done an entire video on this, so I want to drop it as a card up in the right-hand corner right now. I'll also be sure, if there's enough space after listing all the questions, to drop it at the bottom of the description as well. So I don't really get IP claims. I think there's one, it might be a trademark claim on my account currently, but it's a suspected one, right? It's not an actual claim. So I don't really scale up the coupon arbitrage on Amazon anymore. Therefore, I don't really get any claims. Now, you can still get a claim here and there on liquidation or bulk, but it's very, very rare. And chances are, if you don't have like a history of doing it over and over and over again by doing the coupon websites, then when you respond to Amazon and show them your invoice or your receipt, then they'll just wipe it off your account and it'll be all good, right? But if you have a history of showing many, many IP claims, there are ways in that video that I dropped to get around it and prevent them, obviously, but they're gonna be less likely to be on your side because you have a history of it and it just looks bad. So no, I don't really personally get them anymore. Every once in a while I'll get a suspected one, or I'll get one and I'll just deal with it, but I rarely get them because I don't scale up coupon arbitrage reselling it back on Amazon. So is it more possible to sell a lot of stuff back on from coupon sites back on Amazon like a year ago? Possible, yes. Do I recommend it? No. I would gear you towards a different business model, or selling on a different platform if that's your main goal. Or if you're set on selling on Amazon, there's great business models to sell on Amazon. Source liquidation, source bulk deal arbitrage, right? Source wholesale, source books. You can resell all those back on Amazon with barely any risk of any claim. The only reason that you're potentially going to get claims is if you're reselling coupon products back on Amazon most of the time. So Alvin Lin says, do you mind sharing a blank copy of your spreadsheet that you use to track all your inventory, where I purchased it? I put this in there because I have all the blank templates now. So if you guys are looking for any of the templates on how I track, obviously I'm getting into Inventory Lab. I'm kind of seeing if that works for me and my business, so that if it does in the future and I like it, I might recommend that software to you guys. That said, I haven't mastered it yet. I've barely started scaling it up and using it to track. Currently, I track most of my stuff with just spreadsheets. Now, is it a little bit more hands-on work? Yes, but it's not much work at all. So if you guys want any of those templates, the bulk deal, the books, the liquidation, right, any of the templates, the coupon, the cashback, just shoot me an email to the email. I'll pop it up on the screen again, Brian with a Y at invertmedia.net. I'll link you the template for that specific business model. Just make sure you tell me which arbitrage business model that you want the template for. So Mr. Munkles says, hey Brian, another great video. I have subscribed. Quick question. Is it safe to open multiple Extreme Rebate accounts under different emails in order to access products faster? Will he need a VPN? So I basically know where this is going. And he also says that he just started, so he only gets 5 products. So in my opinion, can you do it? Yes. Should you do it? No, because you can scale up an Extreme Rebate account super, super easy, right? So there's 2 ways to get more claims on Extreme Rebate. And I think currently my account has like 60 or almost 70 claims. So if you're getting that many, you should never need another account, because the turnover on products is going to be like, you're not going to be able to claim 70 products and be waiting for more products, right? You're going to be like claiming 10 or 20 in a day. Then by the time you've reviewed them a week later, you're going to have more claims. So you're never really going to hit that 70 number or that 60 number where you need more claims on your one account once you're fully scaled. So like I said, there's 2 ways to basically get more product claims. That is A, to claim them and then review them, and then you'll slowly build your account up and get more, or refer a friend, right? So that doesn't need to be an actual referral where somebody buys it. Maybe you can refer your mom or your brother or your sister or a friend, right? And they can just click the link and sign up. They don't actually have to purchase anything, and then you get bonus claims. So that's the 2 ways that you can scale up an Extreme Rebate account. I don't recommend doing it with multiple accounts. It's not worth risking your account and your IP address to, basically get caught on Extreme Rebate. Plus, with that being said, you also need to keep in mind, if you're going to do that your buyer account's going to be the same as well. So in my experience, I would just recommend doing it with 1 account and scaling up your Extreme Rebate account. I just give you 2 ways that you can basically do that. So Swordfish says, Brian, what's the turnaround time for getting paid back from the rebate sites? He read somewhere that it's over 30 days. So there is one site where it is over 30 days, and that is Rebate Key. But if you're using like Cashback Base or TestZon or Extreme Rebate or Huns on Vines, there's a million of them, Gmile. It's going to depend each site to each site. So for example, on Extreme Rebate, sometimes you get refunded back in a day or 2. Sometimes it takes a week. It really depends product to product, seller to seller, and site to site. But for the majority of the sites, if you're not using Rebate Key, no, it's usually about anywhere from like 24 hours to like a week and a half. So Zachary Champagne says, where do you get your bulk product pallets from? So he's talking about liquidation arbitrage, I'm assuming, and there's many sites that I use. A couple that come to mind are like 888 Lots, Smash Lots, which I believe is Honcho Wholesale now, Bulk. There's a bunch of sites. I've covered a million tutorials. You can check the liquidation playlist, and that would literally go through all the sites I've used, and you can literally write them down and watch the tutorials on how to source from them. So Second Coming says, if I buy your course, will that teach me how to list on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari as a beginner? Will it also include those other platforms as well? And yeah, the course, obviously, shameless plug, first link in the description. So yeah, it teaches Poshmark, Mercari, eBay, as well as Amazon. I've covered two different sides of my business. One side I focus on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, and the other side I focus on Amazon. If you guys want to see that video, it's the last video that I did. I'll drop a card to it up in the right-hand corner right now. I'll also, if there's enough space, link it in the bottom of the description. So I sell on all of them, and yes, the course teaches you all of them. Marvin Higoy says, great stuff, Brian. You've earned a subscriber. So this may be a dumb question, but in the video about coupon arbitrage, there's the fact that you list that there's the potential risk of IP claims. And this is completely independent from someone going to Walmart and buying stuff in the clearance aisle. So I know where this one's going. So yeah, Mark, that's not a stupid question at all. I'm glad that you asked it. So yeah, going to retail sites or sourcing online on bulk deal sites or anything like that, or liquidation or books, will not get you IP claims 99.9% of the time. I would just say practically all the time, right? There is the one-off chance that you can get it, but I've covered that obviously before in this video. So what I'm trying to say is the only time you really have to worry about the risk of any IP claims or trademark claims or copyright claims is when you're buying coupon products, or if you buy cashback products and then resell them back on Amazon. If you're not doing that, if you're not sourcing from the coupon sites or the cashback sites and relisting those same products under the same product listing back on Amazon where you bought them, then you don't really need to worry about IP claims or anything. If you're going to retail sites like or retail stores like Walmart, chances are 99.9% of the time you will not get a copyright strike or an IP claim. But if you do, it will be a lot easier to deal with it because it'll be like a big brand and you'll have proof that you actually sourced it from a legitimate place. So it won't get you ungated, obviously, if you're doing that from retail stores and retail sites, but it will prove authenticity if they ask you for that or if you get a potential claim. So Jonathan Cortez says, I'm curious why you were suspended from eBay. And I get this question a lot. I believe that the quote that they said essentially was that they no longer wanted to have a business relationship with me. Now that's because I have created many courses and I've also created many tutorials on YouTube where I've taught people how they could drop ship on eBay. So while I don't drop ship, they either thought that I was drop shipping as well, or they just didn't like that I was using my eBay seller account to show people how to drop ship. So in short, that's why I got suspended. Brian Karabat says, Amazon had the buy box for both the items that I showed in this video. Do I still buy an item and try to compete with Amazon by hoping that they go out of stock so I can win the buy box? So this is a question I get a lot as well, and that's a great question, Brian. I personally don't avoid any listings that Amazon's on unless I look at their inventory by using seller add-on, which is the little plugin, and it shows that they have like 999 in inventory, right? So if they have a ridiculous amount of inventory, then I avoid it just because I know that I'm always going to be competing with them against the buy box, and chances are that if they have that much distribution and that much inventory, they're going to be a little bit more loose with their pricing so that they can afford to undercut me, which they do every once in a while. But in most cases, if they only have a little bit of inventory, or if the margin's potentially really, really good, I don't avoid Amazon on the buy box because I have seen that they do match me in prices and they do share the buy box on most things. Now, like I said, the only time I'll avoid Amazon is if the margin's really, really, really low and it's not worth it to take a chance on that, or if they have like a bunch of inventory of that product. That's the only time that I avoid it. Good question though. Mr. B says, thank you for the video and showing us this website to source from. But what if Amazon asks us for the invoices and the authenticity of a product? Then what? Please inform us. So it really depends. Obviously, if you're sourcing online, you're always going to have the invoice or the receipt, right? Depending on where you're sourcing from. And you can always use that to prove authenticity. That said, most sites, unless you're doing it from like wholesale or like liquidation, are not going to get you ungated, right? So keep that in mind. But yes, you can always use the receipt or the order, if you're ordering on Amazon or if you're ordering from another site. While it won't get you ungated, it will prove authenticity that you actually did have that product. Assuming, and this is a big assuming that a lot of people, kind of ignore, that you actually did list the right product under the right product listing that matches the condition, the variation, right, the all that stuff. So if you do list it perfectly and it's the same under that exact listing, then yes, your order invoice or your order receipt will get you, will prove authenticity if Amazon asks. Swordfish says, this is a pretty cool idea, Brian. Thanks for sharing. what kind of time are we looking at turnover-wise on getting your money back into PayPal after selling the item? Also, is there a limit to buying the same product to sell? So last question here, and I actually touched on this before. So the turnover time depends from site to site. Like I said, most sites, it's gonna be anywhere from like 24 hours to like a week, week and a half. But if you're sourcing from Rebate Key, then I believe the turnover is like 30 or 35 days. But there's a bunch of other sites. Try to put the playlist, the cashback playlist, down in the description if you want to check out a lot of the cashback sites. So most sites, it's like 24 hours to like a week and a half. Now, is there a limit to buying the same product to sell? Yes, because with a rebate site specifically, and that's what he's referring to, you can only buy one of that product because you're only going to get rebated for one. So you could buy two, you could buy 10, you could buy 1,000, but you're still only going to get rebated for one, so then you'd be wasting money and you'd be buying the other ones at full retail. That was a lot of talking. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you have any other questions, drop them in the comment section down below. I'd love to answer them, and then maybe I'll turn them into a video and make another Q&A tutorial. Also, let me know too if you like these Q&As. I know some people do and some people don't. Just looking at the analytics on it, you know, some people die off and they're not really intrigued by it. But I've also talked to people that say that these Q&As really help them out and give a lot of insight because they also have similar questions, and then they get to hear my video answer, not just like a quick email answer, right? So let me know, A, if you have any questions, and B, if you like these videos, and I'll see you in the next one.